come he got a room, mister? You said you didn't have any.
I still don't. Not for the likes of you. Now just get out of here.
Now look, I know I'm dirty. I've been riding, but I've got money and I can...
Out! Or I pick up that phone and call the police. They'll give you a room, I promise you that.
Okay, I'm going. But you'll be sorry, man, because someday this place will just burn right down on top of you.
Happy anniversary, baby.
What's the matter? You lose the beat?
No, the band.
Who needs music?
Well, the Bolshoi Ballet and me.
You're just looking for an excuse to see that fire.
Well, I have been accused of chasing ambulances, but never a fire engine. Honey, come on, let's get out of here and take a look and see what this is. Come on.
Macklin here. At 10:30 on the Congress Hotel fire. The suspect is male, Caucasian, brown eyes, dark hair, between 20 and 25 years, on a gold motorcycle.
All right, off the bike. Over here, come on. Move it! Get over here! Face down, spread them. Come on, get down. You have the right to remain silent. Right to counsel before questioning. Anything you say will be used against you. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear, but what is this about?
That hotel you fired up back in San Remo.
Honey, if we don't eat pretty soon, my stomach's gonna sue me for non-support. When's dinner? Can I have a look?
You know, a good meal is like a bride. It's bad luck to see them before they're ready.
Listen, I saw you before our wedding.
Didn't you, though?
Well, the least you could do is blush.
That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
What?
You owe me an anniversary waltz.
You do? Mm-hmm. There's no time like the present, is there? You wait right here.
What happened?
The power went out again. I better check the circuit breaker, honey. I'll be right back. Honey, turn off the hi-fi.
Okay. Hello. Okay, just a minute. Tony, phone.
Hey, Sergeant! Hold it a minute. What's this about a prisoner asking for me?
His name is Edgar Dorsey. Burned a hotel last night.
You what?
Yeah. Typical hippie motorcycle freak. Needs a bath, hasn't got a dime.
Well, did you let him have one?
Oh, one.
A bath. Hey, Sergeant, I'm sorry. Look, you know, Petrocelli isn't exactly a household name, so how did he get it?
Oh, Anthony, my boy. Good morning, good morning. Ready to begin on the case, I see. Good. Sergeant.
Good morning, Mr. Forbes.
Good morning, Mr. Forbes. Don't tell me you're the one passing out my card.
Well, who else would I recommend? Remember, the defendant is entitled to the best defense at all times. So...
Regardless of his financial condition, unquote. Huh? Well, who's handling the prosecution?
Well, as a matter of fact, I am, Petrocelli.
You are in an arson case?
Well, I'm afraid it's not going to be that simple. I see the sergeant didn't quite bring you up to date. An elderly gentleman named Herbert Schleicher burned to death in that conflagration.
Oh. Then why me?
I dropped by courtroom number 7 last week. I was much impressed by the sterling fashion in which you defended your client for indecent exposure.
Well, you should have stuck around. I lost.
I know.
So according to this, you're charged with burning down that hotel. And since arson's a felony, you're also being charged with murder.
I didn't do it, man. I keep telling you that.
An old man died in that fire, Edgar. Now, did you start it?
No. I swear, I didn't do it.
Okay, let me tell you something, kid. They've got witnesses there. They've got 3 witnesses. They've got a hotel clerk and 2 or 3 others. They put you there when the fire happened.
They're lying.
Okay, Edgar. Tell what I want you to do. I want you to start from the beginning. I want you to tell me everything. Where you're from, where you were going, the whole works, from day 1.
Okay. I'm from Ohio. But I got this aunt in California I was gonna go to work for. Try to go to ag school. You know, agricultural college. So when I got as far as San Remo, I was real tired, and all I was looking for was a place to crash. You know, spend the night and rest up for the next day. I was just beat from all that riding. Like the last 2 nights, I'd sacked out on the road in my sleeping bag. So what I wanted was some real sleep and maybe a bath. I didn't want to spend too much bread, so I stopped at the first place that looked clean and reasonable. I was tired, but I was feeling pretty good. You know, a good day's ride through some beautiful country. And now I wanted to top it off with a hot bath and some clean sheets. Hi. I need a room and a bath. Just for...
No vacancy. Try someplace else.
Well, whereabouts could I find him?
I don't know. Try the next town.
Well, that's where this whole bummer started, Mr. Petrocelli. I knew that dude wouldn't give me a room because he thought I was a freak or something, just because of the way I looked. So I passed this real straight-looking cat on the way out.
What do you mean?
Now, he had no trouble getting a room, and that got me real uptight. They treated me like I wasn't even human, wasn't fit to stay in their lousy hotel. Now, I had just as much right to a room as that big businessman, so I figured I'd go right back in there and tell that old dude that I wasn't going to be put down like that. How come he got a room, mister? You said you didn't have any.
I still don't. Not for the likes of you. Now just get out of here.
Now, look, I know I'm dirty. I've been riding, but I've got money and I can...
Out! Or I pick up that phone and call the police. They'll give you a room, I promise you that.
I'm going. But you'll be sorry, man, because someday this place will just fall right down on top of you.
Burn down on top of you. Well, that's what the police report says.
No, sir. I never said burn. That's a lie. I wouldn't say that.
So next you returned to your bike and found you'd been robbed.
When I found my jacket had been ripped off, there was just too much for my head, man. First the hassle with the desk clerk, and now this. So I drove around looking for the dude who swiped it, and I cut into this alley. Then I saw somebody walking up ahead, carrying something. It looked like my jacket. So I kept on going down that alley. Couldn't really see who it was pretty dark. I went after him, but he started running like he was trying to get away from me. Man, I was so tired and messed up, all I wanted to do was get my jacket back and split out of this town for good. Coming here was like being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Then I saw there wasn't a guy, it was a chick. She had a yellow bundle. When I saw it was her purse, I kept on going. I felt bad I had freaked her out, but I was pretty flipped out myself, so I didn't stop. Then I came out of the alley and almost hit a cop's car.
You always come out of alleys without looking?
I finally got through to him that somebody stole my jacket. But he gave me a ticket anyway for reckless driving.
Sergeant Macklin Button meeting you at exactly 10:50. That's bad. Fire started around then.
You! There's a sign out there that says keep out.
Doesn't say positively. What's he, an archaeologist?
Mr. Martin's an insurance investigator. He has got a right to be here.
This is the room the fire started in, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I understand there's some trash cans around here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my name's Petrocelli, and I'm an attorney.
Oh, for the hotel?
No, the defense.
Oh.
Is that the room where the deceased got that way?
That's what they tell me.
Did you look that room over for any clues?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. When do you get the lab report back?
Oh, tomorrow, maybe the next day, I don't know when.
Yeah, try Tony's luck in the fourth.
What's in there?
An insurance investigator. What'd you find out?
Well, I took an electrician friend of mine out to your place, and he says that you need 220 out there.
Well, I told you, everything says 110 on it.
I know, but, well, he says with all the appliances, you're shorting out. You need the 220. He owes me a favor from when I was on the police force, and he says he'll do it cheap.
Okay, yeah. Now, what'd you find out about that woman with the yellow bundle I told you about?
My horoscope said that I am going to learn of an interesting woman.
Mm-hmm. Did your horoscope tell you where I could find her?
Well, I just came from the early bird answering service, and the day operator said that the night operator will be able to help you because she came on duty when that happened.
Name?
Arlene Johnson. Here's all the information.
I couldn't answer the phone just now. There's somebody at the door.
Did you do what I told you to do?
Yes, I called her. But listen, there was somebody at the door just now.
Who?
Well, a man. I don't know him. I'm scared.
Yeah, I know. Just hold tight.
I need you here.
Okay, tonight.
Hey.
Oh, love you, baby.
Bye.
Motion for bail denied, Counselor. As indicated, preliminary hearing will be held in this courtroom Monday, 9 a.m. Recess until 1:30.
Petrocelli! I knew I'd catch you. How are you?
Ah, Mr. Martin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. That lab report come in yet?
No, not yet.
Uh-huh. Well, the fire department says arson. What are you going to tell the insurance company?
Well, I haven't decided yet, but I understand you're looking for a witness, somebody who can swear they saw the kid in the alley.
Yeah?
Well, I'd like to give you the name of a witness. Arthur Martin.
You want to be a witness?
I'm a very good witness. I can convince a jury that it was negligence.
What was it?
Well, the truth is that basement in the hotel, you know, make the city dump look antiseptic. Spontaneous combustion could have broken out any place along the line.
Yeah, it could have broken out, you see, but you have no proof.
What? I'm a top investigator. I'm an excellent witness. You put me on the stand, buddy. And if I don't break that case, I'll bend it pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Then you know what Forbes will ask you.
What?
If the cause of this fire turns out to be negligence on the part of the insured,
Yeah?
do you get a bonus for saving the insurance company some money?
Well,
No further questions.
Promises, promises. Hey, may I remind you that it's past noon and I go on meal penalty in about 10 minutes.
Ah. I'm going to take you to lunch right now.
Oh, good. I'm starving to death. How about some hamburgers and a fry?
You got it.
Okay.
Yes?
Anthony, my boy, I trust I'm not interrupting anything important. A little matter just come up which I thought might be of interest to you.
Well, try me. That's very good of you, sir. And I do appreciate that. Yeah, okay, absolutely. I'll be right over there. Thank you, sir. Goodbye. Obligations of a legal profession.
I object.
Objection overruled. I'll see you later, okay, honey?
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Well, looks like you're in luck, Petrocelli.
How come you're doing my homework?
She just walked right into the station.
Watch the beer, kid. All right, Edgar. I don't want any guesswork, huh? Either you know or you don't. Either she is or she isn't.
Yeah, it's her. I mean, like, she looks different. She had a coat on that night. But that's the one. You ask her.
I was in a hurry to get downtown, so I was cutting through the alley to catch the number 5 bus. And here comes this dude on the bike up behind me. This big headlight, you know? It was scary. But then he doesn't stop. He goes right on.
You're certain he wasn't in the alley to begin with?
Positive. I would have passed him. That's the way I came.
And you're sure he went past the hotel? He did not stop?
Right. He goes barreling right on out of the alley. Gets nailed by the police car.
Strange. The officer never mentioned seeing you come out of that alley, Miss Brooks.
I cut through the back of the San Remo drugstore. Came out on 4th Street.
Miss Brooks, you sure you'd recognize that motorcycle rider if you ever saw him again?
Sure I would.
Even though there were headlights in your eyes and he was wearing a safety helmet, you still could identify him.
His picture's been in the paper for 2 days.
Mm-hmm. But you took 48 hours to come in.
I was busy.
Well, the phone company gives you 3 minutes for a dime.
I didn't want to get involved. Then I thought it over.
That night, Miss Brooks, you were carrying something, weren't you?
I had some clothes in this little yellow bag.
Why were you in such a hurry to get downtown that night, Miss Brooks?
I had a date.
Who was your date that night, Miss Brooks?
Napoleon Bonaparte.
Who's there? Anthony Petrocelli, attorney for Edgar Dorsey.
Prove it.
Arlene Johnson?
What do you want?
Well, I'm looking for witnesses. Actually, I have one possibility, but there's been a question raised as to the lady's veracity, unfortunately. Miss Lillian Brooks. Do you know her?
No.
Well, she tells me that she saw my client
This lady said no.
in that alley that night about 10:50. And I'm just looking for some corroboration, you know, someone who saw Lillian or my client or both in said alley.
Well, I would have missed him. I came in later.
That's funny because, you see, the lady that you relieve at 11 said you came in at 10:50.
Well, this lady said later.
Well, memory can play tricks.
Not hers.
I'm asking her.
I'm sorry, there's just no way I can help you.
No. I'm sorry, too. Thanks.
It's gonna catch up.
Sorry, buddy. But listen, were you on this run the night of the Congress Hotel fire?
Yeah, I was here. What about it?
Did you pick up any passengers on 4th?
No, not a one. There was nobody at the bus stop. Must have all been watching the fire.
Okay, thanks. subpoena for Arlene Johnson.
How do you figure to serve it? Special Agent Holcomb.
You're a special government agent, huh? And what you're doing with her is called relocation. What's your real name?
Doesn't matter. The point is, I was married for 13 years to one of the most important enforcers the syndicate had.
What do you mean, had?
She sent him to jail. Does that answer it for you?
Anyway, he got tired of me, and I thought I was free, but I wasn't. He had somebody watching me every minute. Even when I talked to somebody on the street, I was endangering their life as well as my own.
That's when we stepped in. We've got 5 convictions so far. From simple assault to blackmail, all the way up to murder. We're not through yet. The government has gone through a lot of trouble to keep her alive, to give her a second chance. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A new name, a new town, a whole new life.
Look, you could testify in private in the judge's chambers. There'd be very little risk.
No.
You can save my client.
No.
Look, Mr. Petrocelli, there's an open contract out on her. 1 picture in 1 local paper, let alone the wire services. And she's dead, pal. Now, the point is, your client isn't even on trial yet. So all you're talking about is a preliminary hearing, right?
Yeah, you're right, pal. I get your point. But I won't use the subpoena until I absolutely have to.
How do you like that?
$50 worth of cable and the city hasn't hooked it up yet.
Well, the butter is very soft, and I don't even want to think about the eggs and milk.
Wow.
I got a lot of things for you.
Something good, I hope.
Well, let's start with this.
Ice! Peach, you're lovely.
I also got some good news and some bad news for you, Tony. What do you want first?
Yeah, well, you better give me the good news first.
Well, it's gonna take the city 2 days to hook up your 220 line.
That's the good news? I'm afraid to ask about the other.
And the bad news, this just come into the station.
Why didn't you tell me about this? That you were nailed in a charge of arson. I was just a kid when I did it. What exactly did you do? I set fire to a barn, that's all. Then they sent me to this mental place, a hospital. And they cured me. They really did.
Why were you carrying that gas can in the rags?
Well, I was crossing the desert at night and I didn't want to run out. I didn't do it, Mr. Petrocelli. I didn't set that hotel on fire. That stuff they dug up on me. They can really nail me with that, can't they?
No, they won't use it. First of all, you're a juvenile. Besides that, you had your therapy in a private hospital, not a state institution. Even Forbes wouldn't bring that up. I don't think.
I told the young man I had no vacancies, but he refused to believe me. So I was stern with him. I run a nice, quiet, respectable place, and when this young fellow walked in, I knew there'd be trouble. He got very angry. You know how that kind can get. And it's my job to keep them out. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, young man. Please, don't make it necessary for me to telephone the police.
Okay, I'm going. But you'll be sorry, man. Because someday this place will burn right down on top of you.
I was relieved to see him go. He stormed out of there fit to be tied. I hadn't seen anybody that disturbed in a long time, so I knew I did right to turn him down. No telling what he'd do. His kind have a complete disregard for life. I tell you, the way he was acting, the way he looked, wouldn't take any imagination at all to see him setting that fire.
Objection. No one is asking Mr. Wheaton to imagine anything.
Sustained.
Your witness?
Your Honor, no question. questions at this time, but I do reserve the right to question the witness at a later time.
Now, Dr. Jordan, as a psychiatrist, do you attach any particular significance to a threat the defendant allegedly made about the hotel burning?
Scarcely. Unless, of course, the person happened to be some sort of an arsonist.
You are, of course, aware that 4 years ago the defendant was charged with arson, so would...
Objection. I'm surprised at you, sir. Introducing evidence of a former charge, especially when the defendant was a juvenile.
Sustained. You know better than that, Mr. Forbes.
You're right. 4 years ago, the defendant entered a course of therapy, and that, I believe, is material and relevant. Because 2 years later, he was certified corrected and responsible by Dr. Edward Jinks, a fine old gentleman who has since passed away.
I'm going to let him continue this a bit, Counselor. There's no jury here to be influenced.
Very well, Your Honor.
Now, have you studied the findings of Dr. Jinks, sir?
I have.
Will you tell us your opinion that is related to the possible cure of the defendant?
Certainly. You see, it depends primarily on whether the subject was a victim of pyrophilia or was and is a victim of pyromania.
If it is pyromania, that is a mental disorder, can the mania ever really be cured?
I am cured. I'm no maniac. You can't call me that. And this whole thing, I didn't do any of these things. They're all lying.
Why are you trying? What do you want from me?
Too bad, Anthony, my boy. Rough in there for you today.
Yeah. We're trying to spread sunshine or ashes?
Anthony's stubbornness is arrogance, not strength. Your young client is in deep trouble. The hotel, the alley, in it, out. You know as well as I that nothing short of a miracle is going to save him.
Well, I guess I'll just have to try to find that miracle then, won't I, Mr. Forbes?
Oh. I thought you'd show up.
You did?
Yep. Oh, she's gone. We moved her. I just couldn't take the chance. You'll never get to her.
That's funny, you know, I kind of thought that might have happened, so I brought a little present for you just in case. See you in court.
Howdy.
Howdy.
I got some good news for you. I moved you ahead of schedule. There'll be a city truck out here tomorrow sometime to hook you into that 220 line.
Wonderful.
Tony, I gotta tell you, it cost me a couple of six-packs.
You should be in the State Department.
Sometimes I feel like a beer distributor.
You know, I got something on old man Schleicher. Do you know he cashed a check for $1,500 the day before the fire?
1,500?
Yeah.
Get me Martin.
That insurance comes you, I wouldn't trust him as far as...
Just get me Martin, have him in court in the morning.
I think that man's a crook.
Have you received a claim against the estate of Mr. Schleicher?
Yes, the Schleicher family has filed a claim for $1,500. Apparently from a check that Mr. Schleicher Jr. sent to his father.
And as a licensed and qualified investigator, of course, you've had access to all the evidence the coroner has had in hand.
Yes, sir.
Let me show you something, if I may. I'd like to show you the fire-scarred articles here in this box. They were found in Mr. Schleicher's room. Now, could you describe them to us?
Yes, remnants of a leather envelope pouch and flakes and ashes of paper in the bottom of the pouch.
What kind of paper? Money?
Oh, no, sir. No, there's one on American wood pulp, 25% cotton fiber,
ledger bond, and there's one on European rag.
Mm-hmm. Now, you collected ashes from the room yourself, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I have samples of everything that was in it.
How much money did you find?
None. And no ashes whatever of any burned currency.
What was the total amount of money recovered by the coroner from the body of the decedent?
$7.59.
$7.59. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I stopped him at 10:50 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Then you wrote him a ticket.
I did.
For what reason?
For reckless driving. That hippie punk came rolling out of that
We are
alley.
not interested in your personal prejudices, Sergeant. Just tell us what happened, huh?
The young man
Thank you.
came out of the alley without looking and without stopping. So I pulled him over.
So you stood there and you wrote him a ticket?
Yes, sir.
Did you check his cycle?
I did.
Did you see this gas can tied to the motorcycle?
Yes, sir. I sure did.
Well, doesn't it seem strange to you that if anybody sets a fire in a fit of anger, that they would take the time to stop, tie this can neatly to the motorcycle, and then ride away? Would you take that time, Sergeant?
Objection. Obviously calls for a conclusion by the witness.
Sustained.
No further questions. Mr. Holcomb, you are an employee of the United States government, you're not?
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. Special agent.
Yes?
Mm-hmm. Until yesterday, you were assigned to safeguarding a government informant, were you not?
Witness will answer the question.
That's correct.
Who cannot testify here?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Based on the informant's testimony, would you say that the government has successfully prosecuted at least half a dozen criminals?
Yes.
And if the same informant told you that she saw the defendant drive straight through the alley without stopping, would you then believe her?
Your Honor, that calls for hearsay and is clearly inadmissible.
Sorry, Your Honor, I simply wanted to show that a statement was made to the witness. Not that it was necessarily true.
In that case, overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Holcomb, from your knowledge of the informant, would you consider her to be an unbiased witness in this case?
Yes, I would.
Then from what she told you, do you believe that the defendant could be responsible for setting that fire?
No, I do not.
No further questions. Mr. Wheaton, did you know that the decedent had received and cashed a very large check the day of the fire?
I did. Matter of fact, he paid up his back rent with part of it.
I see. Would you call yourself a good person?
I don't know quite what you mean.
Well, you law-abiding, stay out of trouble, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Go to church regularly?
Sort of.
Mind your own business.
I try.
You play cards?
Some.
For money?
Once in a while.
What about horses?
Not for very much.
Generally win?
Sometimes.
Lately?
Well, been a little salty of late.
A little salty or a lot salty?
A little.
What do you mean by a little? $100? $500? $1,500?
Your Honor, argumentative, compound, and irrelevant.
Your Honor, I'm simply trying to prove another possible explanation for the cause of this fire. Edgar Dorsey picked a bad night to arrive in San Remo. I'm going to show you why this particular evening turned into a nightmare for him and a man he never even knew, Herbert Schleicher. Schleicher was asleep in his room as Edgar was pulling into town. But someone else was in Schleicher's room beside the Sandman. Someone who knew Schleicher had a large amount of cash on him, but he didn't trust banks and kept the cash in his room. Now, Edgar knew nothing about this as he arrived at the Congress Hotel, but Mr. Schleicher's visitor certainly did, and a search paid off big. $1,500 from an easy victim. Mr. Schleicher woke up at the wrong time and was tucked in for good. So it is my contention that the victim was already dead when the defendant entered the hotel. Now remember, Edgar was very tired. He'd had a long day and just wanted to get a room for the night. Now, Sergeant Macklin has emphasized the importance of a minute or two in this case. I ask you to pay attention to seconds while Edgar waited for the manager. Apparently, Mr. Wheaton had had a long day, too, because he was short with the defendant, refusing to give him a room. Now, let me remind you of the Equal Rights Amendment to the Civil Rights Act, which states that an innkeeper must grant lodging to any individual if he has an available room. Well, Edgar didn't know this law, but he sure felt it. Outside, he ran into a businessman who had just arrived, and Edgar watched as the man easily registered for the room Edgar had been denied. He came back in to ask Mr. Wheaton why this gentleman could waltz in off the street, get a room, while he wasn't even given the time of day. And justifiably angry, Edgar argued with Wheaton. He told him he had money to pay for a room, but Mr. Wheaton refused him lodgings because he didn't like the way Edgar looked. It was only natural for Edgar, who was tired and agitated, to strike back at Wheaton with the only weapon he had: words.
Okay, I'm going. But you'll be sorry, man, because someday this place will just burn right down on top of you.
He said burn, and it gave the murderer the idea he needed to cover his crime. Now, I don't say this is actually what happened, Your Honor, but after the testimony of Sergeant Macklin and Agent Holcomb, surely there are others who had more motive and more opportunity than this young man who just happened to be in the wrong town, the wrong place, at the wrong time.
Just want to thank you again. Very grateful.
That's okay. Just stay out of alleys, huh? See you later. I like that kid.
Congratulations, Anthony, my boy. Please, no modest Petrocelli disclaimers. I'm in no mood for satire. Oh, I've had juries find against me, but juries sometimes err. I have never before had a case blown sky high at preliminary hearing in municipal court.
Well, I'm sorry, sir.
Sorry? Why do you think I gave that unwashed hippie motorcycle freak your name?
I want to go home.
Okay, honey, we're going.
See you later.
You bet.
Thank you.
You know something? I'd sue the city if I could afford an attorney. I don't think they're ever gonna hook up our power line.
Who cares?
Happy anniversary, darling.